Silence no more. Silence no more.
Well, hello, I'm Janet Marana, Executive Director of Priests for Life, and of course, I co-founded the Silent No More Awareness Campaign. Well, today we're going to have a really good program today because we're going to help you learn a little bit more about the pregnancy help centers that are really all over the United States. And in fact, do you realize there are more pregnancy help centers in America than abortion clinics? In fact, I think we're numbering pretty much 3 to 1, almost getting up to 4 to 1 right now, statistically. And so really, when you think about it, I know from the Silent No More Awareness Campaign, most women don't have abortion out of freedom of choice. They feel like they have no other choice. They feel trapped, abandoned, desperate, confused. Very often they're being told, either have that abortion or like by a parent, I'm going to kick you out of the house, or they're going to get kicked out of college, lose their college scholarship. Maybe they're afraid of losing their job, These are not empowering reasons to destroy their child. And coming out to help them are the pregnancy resource centers that are really giving them real hope. Well, joining me today is one of the stars of the pro-life pregnancy center movement. And he's been involved in the pro-life movement since 1988, first volunteering at a pregnancy help center and then working at different centers in Florida and Colorado. Then finally, he came to Ohio to help Heartbeat International, which is the largest pregnancy help umbrella all over the world, where they assist pregnancy centers getting started and really empowering them. And of course, since 2016, he's now serving as president of Heartbeat International. And joining me right now is my dear friend, Jarrell Godsey. Jarrell, welcome to the program.
So pleased to be with you, Janet. Thanks for the kind introduction.
Thank you. Well, of course, I just wanted to clear up some language. As you know, years ago, excuse me, when you probably first started, pregnancy help centers were called crisis pregnancy centers, right?
That's true.
Can you tell everyone the terminology? How did it morph into some of the terminology we use now, and why, and what's the reasoning?
Sure. The term crisis pregnancy actually defines the situation pretty well. But unfortunately, it was kind of one that we gravitated to early on. And then we did an actual study, kind of one of those, what do they say, focus group studies, where a number of women who were actually in crisis pregnancies were asked, is that what they would call this? Is that how they would use the wording? And the truth was, we found out that they didn't like the term because they didn't want to be in a crisis. And so for us calling what it was really telling them, hey, we are what you are, and why would we offer anything different? So that really led to kind of an overall change in approach and understanding to define not just what they're in, but what we are. And that's where you see the other terms come out, like Pregnancy Resource Center, we prefer the term Pregnancy Help Center or Help Clinic, when you have resource centers, which are often non-medical, and others that are pregnancy medical clinics. So our term is Pregnancy Help Center because that's what we do. We are about the work of pregnancy help.
And then, of course, as you know, Jarrell, going back to the 80s with the Crisis Pregnancy Center, so many of these centers were focused back in those days on diapers and baby equipment and clothes and formula and all that. And I think for a long time, pregnancy centers didn't get the recognition of what they really do. So in a snapshot, can you tell everyone what's the breadth of the great services that the pregnancy centers now do?
So this is It's a great question, Janet, because there are actually a lot of different kinds of pregnancy centers. Pregnancy Help is really from those small rural centers, which frankly are still oriented towards material services, providing diapers and maternity clothing and even formula and other things, even past birth, which of course is one of those things that we get tagged with of being only birth oriented. But in fact, we're very mom oriented. That's always been the case. The moms focusing on the women, but other centers, particularly those in metro areas or in larger cities, have been compelled to bring more services, and really services that attract women, help meet a need that they're looking for. And one of the best has been ultrasound. So ultrasound kind of was started in the mid 80s and then began to really gain footing in the 90s, and in fact took off when Focus on the Family and the Knights of Columbus and in that 2000 era began to help centers obtain ultrasound, and suddenly we see this kind of blossoming of a core pregnancy center, loving women in their difficult situation, but now adding these powerful services around them. So almost, I think now more than 70% of all pregnancy center locations around the US now provide ultrasound as a service. Of course, almost exclusively free of charge to that young woman facing a difficult decision.
And of course, Jarrell, we know that most women, when they see the ultrasound of their child, most of them do choose life. And that is so opposite the abortion clinic, because a lot of abortion clinics do an ultrasound, but they only do it so the doctor can see the baby and kill the baby. It's like a search and destroy mission. Whereas the pregnancies, and they don't let the mother see the screen. And we know that from the testimonies of women. Yep. But at the pregnancy center, they hear the Doppler, they hear the baby's heartbeat, and they see the baby. The experience, I think, isn't it, Jarrell, close to 90% women will choose life if they see that image?
Well, so yes, the ultrasound specifically has been most powerful at that 80% range. But I want to kind of pull back and look at a broader picture. Our friends at Charlotte Lozier, who are part of Susan B. Anthony, they counted a statistic of Planned Parenthood that said if a woman who is pregnant walks through the door of Planned Parenthood, out of 10 women who walk through the door of Planned Parenthood, 9 of them will come out without their baby. And the actual reverse is true of pregnancy help centers. Of 10 pregnant women that are walking into a pregnancy center, 9 out of 10 will choose to keep their baby. Now, not all of them walk in, believing that they're abortion bound or that the abortion is actually top of mind. But I believe the same is true of the other 90% at Planned Parenthood. They have women that they are selling abortions to as well. Right. So you can see the dynamic is all about which door will she walk through. And of course, we want her to walk through the door that's going to affirm her in her motherhood, is going to really reveal the truth to her, which happens with ultrasound, as you said, and also call her to that place to say, you can do this. We'll stand with you however we can.
And of course, among your affiliates in Heartbeat, you have some pregnancy centers that are what we call medical clinics too, and you're going down that road. And then also too, I know Peggy Hartshorn, your past president and practically founder of Heartbeat, she has the thing called the Love Approach. Just explain that to everyone. First of all, acknowledge how many of your centers are medical, and then tell us quickly about the Love Approach.
Yeah, right at that 70% mark are medical. I mean, probably the common denominator amongst all 70% is going to be ultrasound, but many have added, like you said, STD, STI testing and some treatment. Others have brought in other services. They're hiring nurse practitioners. They're involving licensed social workers. They're doing a number of things. They're even providing some well women. We have some doctors that are now on staff at some pregnancy help centers that are almost fully medical, providing well woman exams. So it's a tremendous kind of tapestry of ministry that's happening through pregnancy help. And one of the kind of core tools that have been used in pregnancy centers all over the world, in fact, since 1994, is the Love Approach. And that was written by Peggy Hartshorn, 94. She's an English professor, and so she was able to kind of capture some things that were coming out of the social work environment. And for those that weren't trained in the social work kind of counseling method, she was able to kind of condense that into an easily understood and easily used and utilized tool called Love Approach. And for for us, that's LOVE. And the first L is listen and learn, which of course is what we should do anyway. It's what we will do best at, is listening to her, listening to him, listening to them, understanding where are they, and also learning about them, learning about what they want, what their desire is, what are their challenges. And then that leads us to the next LO in the LOVE is open their options. Most people come to an abortion decision because they believe that there are no other options. In fact, I would describe it almost like the walls close in to where they can only really see one option. And our goal is to simply pull that back so they can see more. They can begin to embrace other options, because you and I know, Janet, if she only has one option, then she doesn't really have any options. And so we want to help her not feel forced into that, because no woman should feel so alone or coerced, whether by their circumstances or another individual, that the only path that they can see is the path that terminates their child. So we try to help her do that. The next in the LOV is V for vision and values. That's where we're going to really tap into her vision for her future and her values, and also introduce the values for life. And that will lead us easily into the E step, which is called extend and empower. And we want to extend the empowerment to her so that she can begin to make that life-affirming decision. Really, the truth is, I've been in this movement a long time, and I can say that there have been hundreds of thousands, maybe even 1 million babies that have been saved by the work of Pregnancy Help throughout the years. Right. But the truth is, we didn't do any of that, not a bit. We helped her to save her baby. And that's exactly how it works, because of love and care and compassion, helping solve some of her challenges. Some of them are material needs. She can't see where to find that next help. So that simple help of knowing that she has a source for diapers, and so for some of these maternity needs that she's going to have, is part of some equations. For most, it's not. They, as Peggy would say, they really need someone to come alongside them and simply say, I believe in you. I believe you can do it. And we're here to help that happen. So that's a joy to be a part of. It's a blessing. I don't think, honestly, Janet, this side of heaven, I don't think we'll ever fully know the impact of pregnancy help work.
That's right. And of course, Joel, you and I have spoken about this, that the abortion industry obviously is moving in a different direction because fewer and fewer doctors are willing to do surgical abortion. And so the chemical abortion has become number one for them. Some people know this as the RU486 abortion. And this is where they go into the abortion clinic and they get the first dose that they take right there in the clinic, and they send them home in a little paper bag with the second dose that they take about 48 hours later. And then the abortion clinic is their home, their bathroom, where they expel that baby. And I can tell you from the work with Rachel Zbigniew and Silent No More, they are so much more traumatized by the chemical abortion than the surgical abortion. And they're coming to healing faster because of being so traumatized. But what is the response now that the pregnancy centers is going to kind of have to be on the front line now to help women who, kind of show up at that abortion clinic? Again, they're not getting the love approach from them. They're getting a sell job. And they take that first pill. Tell us a little bit more about Abortion Pill Rescue is, I think, the name you're using now, or
yes.
Reversal.
Rescue. That's exactly right. That's one of the most amazing things. So up until probably the last 10 years, there really has been nothing that could have been, abortion pill was introduced in 2001, really pushed through by the Clinton administration of the time, and it's slowly been climbing. But it's clear, like, as you mentioned, Janet, that the paradigm has shifted dramatically towards chemical abortion. And we understand, by our calculation, in 2020, 50% of all abortions in the U.S. were chemical abortions. Now, the interesting dynamic that's happening in the last 10 years or so is that women have taken that first pill, and despite all of the other things that led them to that moment, they suddenly regret it. In fact, one of our abortion pill rescue docs has asked almost every single one of the women that he's helped, and they say they immediately regret it, certainly within the first 24 hours. And if we can get to her, and if we can connect her to life-affirming help, meaning the pro-life docs or any doc that will really prescribe abortion pill reversal, which is just progesterone. Progesterone's been used since the 40s to help sustain pregnancy, to help overcome some miscarriage challenges or potential miscarriage challenges. But if we can get to her, and that's what we do, we operate Abortion Pill Rescue Network. We have about almost 40 nurses now that are part of our day and night group that's able to talk to her. There's abortionpillreversal.com is where she can find us, or she can find the number to call us, and our nurses will take their information, make sure that they want abortion pill reversal, and then connect them to that local provider in their community. And we've been steadily trying to grow that community. It's over 1,000 providers now in our network across the U.S. And of late, actually, the last 3 or 4 years, we've been having a number of international doctors and international entities that have been joining us in this. I think the latest number that we have is 47 countries. We've had people reach out to us, and we've been able to kind of connect them with help in their area, which is a challenge, but it's certainly worth it when we can help her rescue that baby.
And of course, Jarrell, if she has that change of mind and she calls the abortion clinic, we know what they tell her. Oh, it's too late. You have to take that second pill. Otherwise, the baby will be deformed. You don't understand what's going to happen. It's like a real hard sell. Take that other pill. There's nothing that can happen. And in fact, it's further from the truth. We know because of these abortion pill reversals / rescues, it's quite successful. Tell us a little bit more about that whole process and about how many babies so far that you're aware of have been saved by this abortion pill rescue program.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. That's true. We've heard those exact same things from women that we've talked to who said, I had to call you because when I called the abortionist back, they said there was nothing I could do. But there is something that can be done, and that's simply introduce progesterone to kind of overwhelm what the work of the RU46 pill, which is actually mifepristone, it's called, overwhelm what it's trying to accomplish. And it's really designed to starve the baby. So if we can get enough progesterone to her quick enough, which is usually within 72 hours, we've seen a success rate nearly 70%. It's from a study that we have, and our numbers are confirming that. As of this past December, we count about 2,000 babies that have been saved from the midst of an abortion. Now, the pregnancy help work has been really all about helping her make a decision other than abortion. And suddenly, with Abortion Pill Rescue Network, we can actually help her actually in the midst of that abortion. We wish it were 100%, but at the moment, we're seeing almost 70% effectiveness rate if we can get to her in that 72 hours. And so it's 2,000 babies and counting. And we actually have seen, I didn't tell you this before, Janet, but we have had record number abortion pill reversal starts in January and in February, and I'm sure it's happening in March as well.
That's great. Well, we all know too, Jarrell, that during the pandemic, the abortion clinics were relying on the RU486 chemical abortion as helping women to have abortions. So I'm not surprised that the statistics keep going up and up and up. But with another thing about these babies, because I know very well Dr. Matt Harrison. He was actually the very first doctor that did a reversal, and then he later got in touch with Dr. Delgado and some others, and that's when they did the whole protocol. Yep. But one of the questions I know people have asked, are these babies healthy? Are they okay? And I know the little girl that was born with Dr. Harrison took care of. I think she's about 9 years old now. But isn't it true that these babies are perfectly fine and healthy? That they don't have any problems, do they?
Well, that's exactly one of the kind of scare tactics that the other side will throw up. Oh, no, that's not possible, and you're certain to have deformities and whatnot. The truth is, through a study, the largest that's been ever done, we know that the actual occurrence of any kind of birth defects or challenges along the line of things that occur that we learn at birth is actually lower than the general occurrence in the population. So it's certainly not true to say that it increases the chance, and it is true that it actually helps her have a healthier pregnancy, probably because we're using progesterone, and she's getting a powerful supplement of progesterone for her body, which is the key hormone that the woman's body itself produces to sustain that pregnancy. So we're seeing actually better results than what they're seeing in the general population through abortion pill reversal, and it's a powerful tool. It's a powerful thing. If we can get to her in time and we can help her overcome that. And the other thing I learned, Janet, in this process, I had a nurse who was on our hotline tell me this. She was one of those who took an abortion pill and then found the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. This is a number of years ago, and she said to me, but in her case, it was not successful. And in her case, she stopped, Jarrell, let me help you understand that even though it's not successful, what you've actually given that mom is a gift of having the ability to have tried. And that's another thing that the abortion clinics have, when they respond with that kind of cold, no, there's nothing you can do, they're missing an opportunity to help that woman, even make the attempt, and to help her with that, really arm her with that psychological knowledge that she did everything she could. After making one bad decision, she tried to make a good one, and that helps her really wrestle with that healing, internal healing for her, for that abortion decision.
So anyone listening right now, what would you recommend? Because they're saying to themselves, oh, how can I help? How can I get the word out? How can I find more doctors to help with this project? So give us a recipe of what kind of help you need, and how can the people listening right now step up to the plate?
Well, thank you, Janet. One of the most important things I would want for any pro-life person to be walking around with is a very simple thing. It's a website, optionline.org. At Optionline, we answer the phone every minute of every day to the best of our ability. We actually answered about 1,100 times every single day. Phone, chat, email, text, all of that is happening all the time. 24/7, 365. The number there is 1-800-712-HELP, but you can find that information at optionline.org. In fact, on optionline.org is a locator where you can find the nearest pregnancy help center and connect with them and help them directly. Hopefully you find one right in your community where you can connect and bring your pro-life value, and if nothing else, drop in and say hello and celebrate them, bless them. But optionline.org is something you should be walking around with, because with that you can be armed with information that you can pass along to anyone that you run into who's actually facing this challenge, or who knows someone that's facing this challenge. You know, it might be the daughter or the niece of a neighbor. It might be a relative, a distant relative. Just let them, that doesn't live near you, that you can find optionline.org. And the good news is optionline.org is the one that answers the Abortion Pill Rescue Network in that kind of first phone call where we know that she's the one that helps. So this can help in either situation. But if you want to know more about abortion pill reversal, abortion pill rescue, just simply go to abortionpillreversal.com. That's where you can read more about it. We have a lot of information there and ways to get in touch and ways to connect with us by email, or just give us a call, and we're happy to help. Heartbeat operates both programs. We do it. We have a great team that does it, a lot of dedicated nurses and staff members, consultants at Optionline, who are answering those phone calls and looking to help both in the U.S. and internationally. So we're grateful for any opportunity we have for folks to join us in all of this.
And of course, I'm very familiar with Optionline. And of course, you have people sitting on by 24/7, English and Spanish too, which I think is
thank you.
marvelous.
Yes, we do.
Because there are very few hotlines out there in the pro-life movement that promise 24/7 and in Spanish also. But now, if let's say people are watching and listening right now, and they say, well, you know, in our community, we have this great pro-life doctor. How can they connect doctors and get them interested in wanting to learn how to be part of this network of Abortion Pill Rescue?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that, Janet. So APRN, so Abortion Pill Rescue Network, APRN Worldwide, is our website for providers, and we've had people from the UK, we've had people from most of Western Europe, some of Eastern Europe as well join us. We've had friends in other countries across the Pacific and all around the globe jump in with us as a provider, saying, I get it. I see the science. I understand this very well. I'm a provider. I'm willing to prescribe this progesterone for these women. And they jump in. And all they have to do is just fill out a form right there and reach out to us. Let us know where they are, who they are, and that they want to help. And we'll be glad to take it from there. So APRN Worldwide is our website.
That's
for
great.
Providers.
Okay. And then let's just quickly tell them, I know I'm coming to Columbus for Heartbeat International's conference.
Yep.
Tell us quickly a little bit about that. Because
Oh,
it's a big anniversary
it
year, right?
is. It's going to be great, Janet. So glad you can join us. It's going to be, you're such a faithful attender anyway. We're grateful to have you along for this big birthday bash. It's 50 years of Heartbeat International, which started in 1971, long before I got involved. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We have some great musical talent. We have some awesome speakers that will be with us, but it's a whole bunch of seasoned, skilled subject matter experts that will be giving workshops and talks and roundtables, and we're going to be doing it both in person and also virtually. So I'm glad you're going to be joining us in person, but we also have a virtual conference that will be happening in parallel. So that's available. You can find more information about that at heartbeatinternational.com or .org. Sorry, it's going to be our 50th. It's actually the theme is this is an easy term, is essential, right? Because we realized, even as we learned, as you mentioned a moment ago, Janet, about the abortion clinics determining themselves to be essential, we also knew that we were essential to help her keep that decision that she had made or make a life-affirming decision. So one thing we learned at the Pregnancy Help World is that we are essential. And so that's our big theme. Seems to fit for our 50 years of being essential. And hopefully, we'll have 50 more, Lord willing, that if we have to keep going, we don't want to do this work. We don't want to have to do this work. Let me say this, but we're blessed to be able to serve women and families and couples into making life-affirming decisions.
Now, suppose someone's listening right now and they say, you know what, I'm not involved in a pregnancy center right now. I don't work for one. I don't volunteer for one. But gee, I can't get to Columbus, Ohio, but I'd like to go to that virtual conference to learn more. Are they able to do that if they're not affiliated with a pregnancy center?
Absolutely. There's a lot of topics that are really general topics for pro-lifers, as well as specific topics about operating and running pregnancy centers, maternity homes, all kinds of things. So there's really a lot of things to get involved in at the conference, both on the virtual side and in person. They have very similar tracks, different presenters in both, and that's kind of intentional. We want to have one experience for the people that are coming to Columbus and who are willing and able to come to Columbus, but we also want to have something available for those that either can't travel at this time, or it's easier for them to connect virtually, which includes a lot of our friends around the globe. So we're excited for the opportunity and excited for the big party that's going to happen.
I'm going to be there for it. So again, brothers and sisters, you just go to heartbeatinternational.org. There'll be a link there. You can sign up for the conference. And also, too, if you'd like to make a donation to Heartbeat International, I know there's got to be, right, Jarrell, a donation button there, too, right?
Of course. Yeah, we're always happy for those that support us. We've had many great supporters for years and years, and who see the work that we do, because we really are here to serve the pregnancy help movement.
Well, Jarrell, one of the things I look forward to, which I don't know will be this year because of all the travel restrictions, but to me, the wonderful thing about your conference is how many people come from other countries representing their pregnancy center. And you have that one event where they come marching in with their flags, countries. Yes. And what people don't realize is Heartbeat International is sponsoring them, paying their plane tickets, helping them to get there so they get more educated, and they take all these tools they learn back home to their country, where some of these countries they're living on a shoestring. They have nothing. If you could, we only have a few seconds left, but tell them a little bit about how many countries do you really help all over the world?
Well, all over the world connected with us. Actually, I just learned a new number just a moment ago. 74 different countries that are part of the Heartbeat International network. We usually have about 20 to 24 countries that are able to join us, 40 to 50 people. This year is not going to be the same, Janet. What we are going to do a Parade of Nations, which is one of our favorite moments. Like you, it's one of my favorite moments when we see all of those nations represented. It kind of feels like the Olympics, when they flag them in. And it's really interesting because, one of the powerful truths about pregnancy help and pro-life work is that we probably have 2% of the problem globally, but about 98% of the funding is focused on 2% of that problem. So our international friends need all the help that they can get, and we try to help them as best we can. And so we won't be able to have as many join us because our State Department and government have some restrictions, and moving around international travel is quite different these days. So it won't be the same, but we are looking forward to representing them. We'll have some of them appearing by video. Some of them will be kind of telling their story in different ways. So we're excited for that.
Well, Jarrell, thank you for joining me today for this interview. I know we've gained a lot of information, and brothers and sisters, it's up to you now. Get involved. Heartbeatinternational.org and Abortion Reversal. You've got to be ambassadors of this message, because there are some abortions only you can stop, and some lives only you can save. Join me again next time on Just Ask Janet. God bless.
I will be